Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Broadway Jets YouTube channel. You'll know me from Twitter as NYJ Mike. I'm joined as always by the master of receipts, NYJ Matt. And Matt, the Jets are 4-4. They're embarking on a big Sunday night football game this weekend in Vegas. There's been some disagreement on Jets Twitter about what the Jets should do or should have done leading up to this with Zach Wilson. Fiery times, exciting. We're 4-4. We're in the thick of things. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and hey, if you're new here, thank you for subscribing. I think we got 300 new subscribers after the giveaway. We'll probably do more, so if you didn't win, we'll bounce back. But hey, if you haven't been subscribed, go ahead and do it. I think 90% of our viewers are not subscribed, and 99.9% of viewers are male 20 or 18 to 54. So nobody outside of that age range or no women watch the program. But hey, the debate on Zach Wilson, I'm very curious to hear if YouTube has a different opinion than Jets Twitter, because Jets Twitter wants to kill each other. There's two extreme sides, and I feel like I'm always in the middle of saying, hey, I don't love Zach Wilson. I'm okay with making the change of it. But if you're a diehard Zach Wilson guy and he's your guy, all the power to you. We went through it as Sam Darnold supporters. So I'm not going to call anyone a bad fan, a fucking idiot. Like, that's just not my MO, but it's getting dangerous out there.
Once Geno Smith came back after like 9 years and became a borderline franchise quarterback in the NFL and had a great year last year, can never sit here and be like, this guy absolutely sucks. He's going to be bad forever. You just don't know, because Geno literally sucked. He was awful. Similar situation, except in 2014, except the Jets weren't as good as the current Jets. Geno gets benched, and then he comes back 7 years later and he's making Pro Bowls. So who knows? Nobody knows. The best way to go about these kind of arguments is probably, hey, listen, Zach Wilson's been terrible for 3 years, probably wasting a championship defense. But maybe, there's definitely a little more calm in the pocket, throwing a decent spiral. I don't know.
But why can't it be, hey, I want to bench Zach Wilson. I don't want to play him anymore. And if someone else goes, I think you're an asshole because the offensive line is terrible.
Yeah.
They're dropping passes. Hackett has not been a good OC. I hope you die for saying to bench Zach Wilson. And then the other person's like, no, you should die because Zach Wilson needs to be benched and you're ruining a championship defense.
Or
the answer is always in the middle. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. No. Or you should die because you told me to die.
Yeah.
You lose sight of the argument.
I learned in 2021 when the Jets played the Patriots at home, week 2, terrible game, raining. Zach had 4 picks. Zach gets booed off the field. And I remember tweeting out, I'm like, I think it's really lame to boo your rookie quarterback in his first ever home game. And I got a million replies of telling me, we've seen this enough. This isn't right. And, don't tell me how to be a fan. And I said, you know what? That's fair. I'm going to give my take of saying, hey, I don't think you should boo. But if you're booing, I'm not going to call you an asshole, an idiot. That's your MO. I think it's Jake Asman's obviously getting into it on Twitter. He's a big pro bench Zach guy. And then a lot of the pro Zach Wilson's going to be a good crowd is coming at him. So it's been back and forth there. Spyro Kush going at Jake Asman. We had Nanny and Boy Green last week.
Was that last week? I feel like a while ago. Yeah.
It was during the deadline week. I feel like we need to stage a fake fight between you and I, like 17 years of friendship down the drain. Let's just like hate each other on Twitter and build this no publicity is bad publicity.
You're a huge Alan Lazard supporter. I've had enough.
Yeah.
You really had a really bad game last week. 3 penalties, drop, 2 catches.
So, Mike, gun to head, are you going Zach is starting the game, or would you go Trevor Siemian?
I mean, if I have the problem, it's annoying that the Jets won't even elevate Siemian because why? I mean, what's going to happen? First of all, what if Zach gets hurt? You have Tim Boyle, who has he's like an 0-6 career and he's like 2 touchdowns and 15 picks in college. Like, why would they not do that?
But based on the history of Zach Wilson coming out of games early, he'll probably throw for like 500 yards.
Yeah,
Tim Boyle, if he comes in the game. So
that stat of the Jets being the top team in passing yards per game when Zach Wilson hasn't started and 32nd in the league when he started or whatever, throwing 10 passes is really bad. And you said it last, I think it was on our last show. Like you bring in Josh Johnson, Mike White. The Josh Johnson one's really crazy because Mike White at least played for a few games and seemed like he was pretty solid. Josh Johnson's put on 78 teams and is not that good. And he's thrown for 300 yards.
And there's a little revisionist history around that Thursday night Colts game of like it was all garbage time throws. It really wasn't.
No.
Josh Johnson maybe had like 80 yards extra at that final drive down the field where he ended up throwing the pick. But if he scores there, I think it's an 8-point game.
Yeah.
Or
something. The worst defensive game ever.
That was nobody could tackle on the Jets. But hey, yeah. I'm fine again with both crowds because as a Sam Darnold guy, we were called morons for 3-4 months straight and we just ate it. Right.
It's
and then everyone's telling us how Zach Wilson needs to be the pick. And I'm like, why is a guy who nobody heard about in October going to be the number one player in the draft, not named Trevor Lawrence? Like, how do we commit to that? And of course, I'll buy in a bit. I'll buy into the rookie quarterback. I'll, show improvement year over year, and then you're my guy.
Right,
I just feel,
No, well, to answer the question is I'm the most frustrated with Joe Douglas because once Rodgers went down, the Jets were so keen on moving off Zach Wilson last offseason, and they came out and said it, and then they did it. And then your quarterback you got, and they did the best job in the offseason. You got the guy, and he immediately gets hurt. Nothing changed then about your philosophy. So to not bring in a guy at that point is sick. Then to wait a few weeks, and the guy you get is Trevor Siemian, is sick in a bad way. And then to not even elevate Trevor Siemian doesn't make any sense. So it's very frustrating. That's my biggest frustration. I don't think starting Trevor Siemian is going to do too much to help. And Zach hasn't been a scumbag. His stats haven't been as awful. I don't think he's been good at all, especially, you have literally 30 drives in the last 2 games and you score 1 touchdown. So I don't know. But I agree with you, man. The absolute takes bother me in sports, especially as a person who I love to read about the history of sports. So I've seen every single thing that's happened in the history of the Jets and a lot of sports. And you just don't know. Nobody knows. If you knew, you'd be a billionaire betting on sports. Nobody knows anything. So for people to come out and be like, you're an absolute moron if you believe this thing that could happen, that's not how I would go about doing things.
And you make such a good point on the philosophy, right? When you say move off Zach Wilson, he's not going to be our starting quarterback next year. Right. He got benched for Chris Trevler in the middle of the game, and
a must-win game.
Chris Trevler didn't play fantastic. He had that crazy throw to Uzama that was a walking touchdown. It was a terrible throw. But the offense began to get a first down. They got another first down. They had a 15-yard play. Like the offense started to move and had a pick-me-up with the same O-line, the same receivers that Zach had. And then the philosophy on Joe Douglas, too, with the receiver, you're going after OBJ. You're going to try to trade in the deadline for Adams and Evans. And if they're not going to move them, that's fine. But you're so invested in getting another receiver, but then you don't get another receiver. You just have the same group and you have one guy that can create separation. So for Sunday Night Football, I was at the Chiefs game. This is going to be the first time since 2011 that I get to watch on TV the Jets play a football game on NBC on Sunday Night Football, and I'm very excited about it. If Zach Wilson goes 3 and out, a first down, punt, 3 and out, potential turnover in his first 3 or 4 drives, I think you have to make the move. And if it's Boyle or Siemian, whatever, anybody else out there to give this team a pick-me-up, the team to get a first down, get some confidence, that is what you need to do to save the year. You can't throw away seasons in the NFL. I hate looking back at down years that meant nothing, and you are so close, if you lose this game, to have a nothing burger of a season and pick 13th in the draft. You need to make a move.
And you ruin the chance of Rodgers coming back. And most importantly, you're going to waste this defense that we keep talking about. right before he came out, I was looking through Twitter, and CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams are the number 2 and 3 graded pass coverage linebackers this year in the NFL. That was our biggest concern coming in with the defense, was the linebacking spot. They've been insane. Everybody's playing out of their minds. It's honestly very frustrating. But listen, there have been times that teams struggle on offense. And listen, like the Jet fans should be very frustrated with the offense. It's been insane to watch. The last couple weeks have been horrific. You should have lost the Giants game.
Yeah.
You're not scoring touchdowns. You're having a billion drives. How about the 2010 Jets? They lose 45-3 to the Patriots. The next week, they lose 10-6 to the Dolphins. You come back, and you make the AFC Championship game after that. That's later on in the season also. So, like, I think the way it works, especially in New York and especially in the modern times where everybody has access to everything and opinions on everything because we're all online and we're all talking about it, which is fun. It gets a little bit crazy when you lose 2 games or we play bad 2 games in a row. The Jets could come out and score 25 points on Sunday, win the game. Everyone's gonna be like, "We're going to the Super Bowl. We're 5-4. Fuck the Dolphins. Fuck the Bills coming up."
Like, I don't know if they can score 25.
I know.
I'm just being honest.
I know,
but
Breece Hall might have 22 carries for 190 yards and 3 touchdowns. It just could happen. The Raiders have a bad run defense. I'm just saying, after that happens, it just people don't realize how much the mindset changes week to week.
Yeah, I just need. We talked about it. Everything feels like it needs to be perfect to even get to 20 points.
Yeah,
and yeah, you got to put it in context. The O-line is unbelievably injured, and again, back-to-back years it occurred. And it's not you lose your best guy. Like, I hate game like the Giants game. They had a ton of injuries in the offensive line as well. But you see teams around the league that all their tackles out and how it's going to impact the game plan. We have like 3 tackles out, a center out, 2 guards out. I don't understand why we got the bad luck, but part of football is luck. I get it.
feel like these guys are super injury prone either. Like McGovern played a billion games in a row. I don't know much about Tippmann. AVT has terrible luck, I guess, or he.
Dwayne Brown was an Iron Man. He never missed
got hurt. He's also fully practicing this week, every practice, and is not playing Sunday, which must be some kind of conditioning or. I have no idea. I asked Samini on Twitter and he ignored me, so it's fucked up.
Like, how about this? A lot of takes around, the Jets haven't built a winner because of the O-line over the past couple of years. And I know when you invest, you have to invest in the right market. You have to invest in the right stock, the right player. First round pick in 2020. Yep. First round pick in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Second round pick in 2023.
Big
Carter
contract.
Warren was a 4th round pick, whatever. But you take 4 draft picks, a Pro Bowl you sign, right? I know he didn't play as a Pro Bowler, but he was a Pro Bowler the year before they signed him, or the year of, right? Got him a top 3 center on the market in that year, an Iron Man tackle. It's like
also a Pro Bowler the year before or that year.
You're doing these things, and you're like, Morgan Moses, he made the investment in, had a decent year. He was like the highest AV guy in the Jets in 2021.
But also, Matt, to your point, the Jets line played well in a couple of games. The Chiefs game, they played well. The Patriots game that they lost, they surprisingly played well. Zach was just horrific. There was some time in the pocket. It wasn't as much the last couple of weeks, and you had a tough matchup with the Chargers D line, but
yeah, and I didn't bring up Max Mitchell, right, who was also drafted. So did he invest in Tesla or Amazon in the 90s? No. But it wasn't Enron. Like, he did try, and it just didn't work out. And maybe it would have if everybody didn't get hurt. So the context around that with Zach, I get it. It sucks to have no offensive line. It also sucks to have one guy be able to create separation. But, Mike, I can live. Why can't there be a 3rd down and 8 where Zach drops back, no one's really open, fires a tough, incomplete pass, rather than taking a sack, throwing it 8 feet over his head, fumbling the ball? Like, there is a way to be a normal quarterback in a tough environment. We saw Sam Darnold do it for 3 years. So give me some of that and less of what we saw in the past 2 games.
I completely agree with you. I'm just surprised. I didn't think Zach would have the ability to complete the percentage of passes that he's been completing. He's over 60% the last 5 or so games since the Chiefs game. And you would have thought that would translate to more offense. Like even in the Charger game, was like 23 to 38 for 260. It's like, and there's some garbage time at the end too, but and obviously the Jets offense was horrible. But it just when did that happen? Like why the third down offense is for sure the issue. They're just 3rd and 7, you just have no chance. 3rd and 4 is like, oh my god, if we convert this, would be the greatest thing ever. But obviously the run game hasn't been as good. But it all comes back to Zach. And the Jets have been audibling more. It seems like Zach is in command of the offense. There are times he makes nice throws. Like there was a play in last week's game against the Chargers where he stepped up in the pocket, got fucking murdered, and threw a laser beam to Garrett Wilson over the middle. It hasn't been like circulating to his one random like 10-yard pass. But you're right. Where is that when it's needed? I don't know. It's just very bizarre. I don't think Hackett's very good either. By all accounts,
it's ridiculous that we have to say when we're on the 35-yard line, don't take an 8-yard sack. It's unbelievable. We have to say
that's the thing. It's 3 years. It's the situational awareness. Just fall down, fall on the floor, throw it away. That time, throw it away. Or why can't that time you throw it over 8 feet over Garrett Wilson's head? That'd be great. Then you could kick a field goal from anywhere with this maniac Zerline.
Can I throw a hot take out there? You know how people get really mad when Zach just runs straight backwards? Yeah. Like when he just runs like 8 yards direct, like right back. You can do that. And he's fast and athletic enough to do that and then get outside of the tackle box to throw the ball away downfield. But he doesn't do it. He'll run back. Like you can run backwards if you then escape to the right and throw it out. He'll run backwards and like reset like he's going to throw the ball and then take the sack. It's unbelievable. So my hot take is run backwards if you want. Just get the ball back to the line of scrimmage and get out of the tackle box.
Yeah, and
I don't think he has intentional grounding in his life. I don't think he has one in his career.
Dude, and you tweeted about it too. The Jets should scheme him up out of the pocket more. There's got to be easier ways to get some offense. There has to be, because you do have two terrific players in Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. And Conklin is a solid, good tight end. There's no way to figure out how to get some of these guys the ball more. Like Garrett Wilson's having a fine statistical season, but it just like you can't muster up anything, and it's all those third downs, right? It's what we keep saying. Because now, if you run the ball with Breece on first down and it's not going perfectly, if you get a holding, you're fucked. If it's a 1-yard run, you're probably not going to get a first down in that drive. If you throw it on first down, you're probably not going to be a good play, and then 2nd and 10, then you have to run it with Breece, and then if he doesn't get 8 yards, you're fucked. It's like, but there's got to be like, I feel like even the play, like not a lot of play action. Even when Zach does it, like they do the bootleg, the naked bootleg sometimes, and Zach might just get murdered. I don't know. Like it's just not right. It's just not right now.
It's the first time in my Jets fandom. Probably every game's like 2012. The game will end, and I'll go watch like the 12-minute highlight on NFL on YouTube. I haven't done it probably since the Eagles game, which is only like 2 games, but I physically like get nauseous watching 3 and out, punt, fumble, 3 and out. And
it's also much more fun to root for your team when you love your quarterback, even if they're not that good. Like I remember 2016, second year of Fitzpatrick. I'm like huge Ryan Fitzpatrick defender. I'm like, come on, like just get him back in there. Maybe he'll get hot. Who knows? But
he throws 6 picks against the Chiefs. We're like, but the touchdown they took away from Brandon Marshall, like that was a touchdown. Like that
worst coaching decision of all time by Todd Bowles. Changed the history of the world. It did. Before 6 interceptions, he could have saved 6 interceptions. He wouldn't have thrown any of them if Todd Bowles challenges that play. Brandon Marshall, for reference, Brandon Marshall caught a touchdown. 2016 Jets Chiefs. It's clearly in. Todd Bowles, no challenge. They called him out of bounds. 6 interceptions later, Jets are like 1-4.
I think the Jets lost that game by 1 score.
It was closer than it's not. I don't think it was 1 score, but it was pretty close. It's like we have
to check when the last score was for the Chiefs, because I remember.
Let me get our producer to look. Look. They lost 24-3, but
no, give me the rewind it to, like, was it 13-3 in the fourth quarter?
It was. It was 17-3, but it was obviously the Jets had a lot of chances, and the 2 Chiefs touchdowns. Well, they had 3 touchdowns. 2 of them were defensive touchdowns, and one of them was a fumble return. Jesus.
That's the piece of it, because I remember being like,
Fitz was 20 for 44 with 188 yards and 6 interceptions. They would have won.
Unbelievable. All right, Mike, what else do we have to cover? Jets are going to win. They're going to win 13. No, they're going to win.
Well, I do want to talk about the game because the Raiders are very interesting. Where coming to the year as the Raiders, I like Jimmy G. He's obviously not been very good this year. And the last game I watched him play, he was horrific. They were on primetime, 2 weeks ago? Not the Giants game. Whatever, it doesn't matter. He was horrible.
I feel like they're always in prime time. They play the Bears.
Oh, maybe it was Raiders Bears. No, whatever game they lost, doesn't matter. He was horrible. So he's benched. But they have Davante Adams, who they should have traded to the Jets, but they're stubborn assholes. They have Josh Jacobs. They have Max Crosby. They have obviously some talented guys, but I feel like, if you're the Jets have done well against these young quarterbacks. They've done well against everybody this year, any quarterback. Got to figure you win this game, Matt. Like, just kick 6 field goals. Who gives a shit? Just don't be down fucking 10-0 before we can blink, and put sauce on Davante Adams.
I just can't have this be a game where I don't think the special teams will have a gaffe like they did against the Chargers on Monday night. But I really don't want a game where we're like, the defense took 20 minutes to figure it out, and they were rock solid. Like the Chiefs game, like I didn't know we were down 17. And then we're like, well, the defense played great after that, and it sucks that we have to beg the offense to do something.
How many points did the Jets have in the first quarter this year? Like 3? Is that a real something like that? Maybe 6?
I thought they didn't score a first quarter point, or maybe a first drive point.
They definitely have not scored in the first drive. I think they have like 3 or so or 6 points in the first quarter.
I'll look it up.
It's just like, that's the problem. So, and especially with the Charger game, you let up the punt return. It is what it is. The special team has been great. You are moving the ball decently well, which, again, we've talked about it. Like, big deal. We got the ball to the 50-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a groundbreaking thing. And then the Chargers have a short field and they score a weird touchdown. So it's like, you're right. We can't have that happen. But I thought this was the most complete game. This and the Giants game, the most complete games the defense has played. To your point, early on in the season, even when they're winning games, the Bills game, the Bills are moving the ball. Chiefs, the Patriots move right down the field immediately. Defense was electric the whole game against the Chargers.
Defense was fantastic the whole game. Reed and Gardner is literally the greatest 2 players of all time.
Man, imagine being a lead. Then the team has to throw, and you unleash this pass rush, and you have those 2 maniacs, and Carter, and then C.J. Mosley and Quincy have the 2 top graded pass coverage grades for linebackers in the NFL, 2 of the top 3. Doing some research.
I am. It's not going great.
They haven't scored in the first quarter yet.
It should be a 5 touchdowns in the year. Do we have 8 and 1 special teams? No, I thought we had 8.
5 offensive touchdowns? I think Zach threw 5 touchdowns. That's not right. What?
I'm on PFR.
Football is the best website of all time.
I know. I'm surprised. I'm on to offensive splits, and it says we have 5.
Well, that's not accurate. We have 8 touchdowns.
We have 8 offensive touchdowns, right?
Yeah, Zach Wilson has 5 passing, Brees has 2 rushing, and Nick Bawden, who the announcers called, what did they call him at the game? Nick Bandon. The in-stadium announcers like Nick Bandon with the catch. Dude.
I'm seeing we have 1 first quarter touchdown, but it's not letting me know what game that happened with.
They didn't score against the Broncos. I don't think that's accurate.
I don't think it is either.
The Garrett Wilson touchdown was in the second quarter. I thought in the Cowboys game. It was. Yeah, this is Football Reference is lying. It's disgusting, though.
Hey, but moving forward, we're going to do more tier lists. We're going to do a Oregon Trail episode, which if you don't know what that is, it is an unbelievable mini activity that Mike and I will knock out. What else we have? Tier list. We'll do live games. We're going to drink and watch condensed versions of old games live on YouTube, which will be fun.
We'll do. We'll get some more guests on here.
Yeah.
We'll play some more baseball stat trivia for the baseball fans that subscribe to us. Did I put the compilation on TikTok? Thought it was gonna blow up. Pretty decent. Like we got some views, but we're not super famous yet, man.
Not yet. We're gonna get there.
What kind of celebrity? We're like Z-list celebrities. Where sometimes we go to the Jet game and a person will say like, "Are you Matt or Mike?"
One person.
It's pretty good. It's not bad.
I think Richie O'Leary, like those guys that have been doing this for years upon years, they probably get a handful during the game. They're very recognizable people. Unlike the most like typical like looking random white dude ever who's 5'9", like 165. I could be anybody.
I'll be wearing like a beanie hat. Can't tell.
How should I make the picture for this video, the thumbnail? Should I do like Trump and Hillary arguing and put like Zach Wilson truthers? And
I do like that.
I'll think of something good. All right, I gotta go drink a ton of beer on this Friday night.
That. Oh, by the way, the Jets scored 5 points in the first quarter in the Broncos game. They kicked a field goal and got a safety. Al Woods, RIP. That's sad.
Yeah.
The Jets, I really do think the Jets are going to win. I think the Jets are going to win 27-10 on Sunday night, which may or may not be the same score I predicted for the Giants game.
16-13.
I'll take it. 3-0. The Jets did win a game like that in 1993. All right, go drink. Go drink alcohol.
Have a good night. Thank you for listening. Go subscribe. Connor Hughes got canceled.